الحمد لله الذي علم القرآن خلق الإنسان علمه البيان والصلاة والسلام على خير الأنام نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين صلوا عليه رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي رب أوزعني أن أشكر نعمتك التي أنعمت علي وعلى والدي وأن أعمل صالحا ترضاه وأصلح لي في ذريتي إني تبت إليك وإني من المسلمين اللهم فقهنا في الدين وعلمنا التأويل. May Allah give us understanding of the religion and allow us to understand the Quran. Continuing on our tafsir lessons, we're covering the ayat number 27, 28 and 29 of Surah An-Nur. So if you would like to follow along in the translation, Brother Michael, 27, 28, 29 of Surah An-Nur, and whoever wants to join me in the recitation, inshallah, I would really appreciate that. 27, 28, 29, Surah An-Nur. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تدخلوا بيوتا غير بيوتكم حتى تستأنسوا وتسلموا على أهلها ذلكم خير لكم لعلكم تذكرون فإن لم تجدوا فيها أحدا فلا تدخلوها حتى يؤذن لكم وإن قيل لكم ارجعوا فارجعوا هو أزكى لكم والله بما تعملون عليم ليس عليكم جناح أن تدخلوا بيوتا غير مسكونة فيها متاع لكم والله يعلم ما تبدون وما كنتم تكتمون صدق الله العظيم والله يعلم ما تبدون وما تكتمون وما تكتمون شكرا جزاكم وما تكتمون I added kuntum astaghfirullah. I wasn't really reading from the thing, it just whatever's in the memory. Surah An-Nur, again, we'll talk about the verses, but just so you have an idea that these are the verses that we will be reading. As you remember, the main objective of this surah is, of course, the protection of the honor of people and ways in how to preserve it. 27, 28, 29. And it's Surah An-Nur, again, its overall objective is how to live a life of nur, of light. And its connection to the previous surah, Surah Al-Mu'minun, which describes, of course, who? Mu'minun. It's in the word itself, the believers. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِفُرُوجِهِمْ حَافِظُونَ. Those that protect their private parts. Surah An-Nur goes really into detail about the ahkam and the rulings that relate to community and family life and of course the Muslim household. So in the beginning of this surah we talked about the punishment of zina, of intimacy outside of wedlock, as you all know. We talked about the punishment of slandering, defamation and accusing chaste women, and even in the case of wives. And we spoke about the incident with Aisha radiallahu anha and the lies that were made against her. And now we are going into the verses that talk about taking permission when you enter into people's homes. Taking permission, the adab, the mannerisms that have to do with when you enter into people's homes. And wallahi, you will see why I said that Surah An-Nur and Surah Al-Hujurat are two surahs that every Muslim community has to study. Every Muslim community. And you know, when it comes to the adab of isti'dhan and the way you enter into people's homes and how you knock and all of this, I have not found a single group of people that practices better than Jama'at al-Tabligh. I myself, I never learned these ahkam and rulings when I was a child, but I knew them. Because when we would go out for Jawla, they would teach us this, that when you knock on the door, you stand not facing the door. You stand slightly to the right side, and you face away from the door. Because what if he opens and there's a woman in there? What if his wife is not covered up yet? Anything could be happening in the open home, in the living room and whatnot. So when you knock on the door, you look towards another side. Subhanallah. And different adab. They would knock, nobody would answer. They would leave politely. Sometimes though, my dad would send me. He said, "Beta, go talk to them." And then they would talk to me for 1 hour so he could save himself. But aside from that, mashallah, they were very good when it came to the adab of istidhan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, "Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu," O you who believe. Remember, Allah is trying to catch your attention now. O mu'minun, listen to this. لا تدخلوا بيوتا غير بيوتكم حتى تستأنسوا. Ibn Abbas, تستأذنوا وتسلموا على أهلها ذلكم خير لكم لعلكم تذكرون. Do not enter any house. لا تدخلوا بيوتا غير بيوتكم, other than your own, until you have asked for permission and make yourself known. Let's say you're invited to a dawat. Don't just you're invited to a dawat, you open the door, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, كيف حالكم, Assalamu alaikum. No. Knock on the door. Even though you know people are inside, you don't know what's going on. Knock on the door. لا تدخلوا بيوتا غير بيوتكم. And this is for dawats you're invited to. Now imagine dawats and parties you're not invited to. People nowadays, they see, oh, there's a dawat happening, let me just go there too. They do this. So imagine. So especially when it comes to family and friends, we have to remember these rulings. Of course, you're not going to go to a stranger's house and just barge in. But a lot of times, let's say, several families, like let's say brothers, they have only one mother, and the grandmother for the grandchildren, she stays in one of the houses. And so sometimes it becomes common that they want to go visit grandma, right? They want to go visit daddy, they want to go visit nani. And they think, khalas, I can go at whatever I want, whatever time I want, however I want, open the door because daddy is there. No, this is not her house. There's people living here. There's a wife, there's a husband, there's children. There's things that happen in people's lives that you can't just barge into people like that. لا تدخلوا بيوتا غير بيوتكم حتى تستأنسوا, until you make yourself known. How could you make yourself known? Even in your own houses, don't just barge in. Yes, your wife, of course, she knows her husband is coming in. Maybe knock the door slightly and then walk in. Okay, so that she knows, oh, my husband is just entering. Or ring the doorbell and then walk in. Don't just enter and leave. You should even have in your own homes, some technique that allows your family to know that Baba just walked in or Mama just came in, rather than just barging in and barging out. And we'll go into more details in this book, Islamic Manners. Okay, we'll go into some of the details because right now I just want to focus on the ayat, and then we'll go into more and more detailed rulings. And again, وَتُسَلِّمُ عَلَى أَهْلِهَا, and you greet its occupants. How many times should you knock on someone's house before leaving? 3 times. If you knock on someone's house 3 times or ring the doorbell 3 times, and they don't answer, then leave. And give spaces between the times you are knocking. Then just leave. ذَلِكُمْ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ, that is better for you. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَذَكَّرُونَ, so perhaps you will be mindful. One point I really want to mention. This is not only in other people's houses, even in your own house. Let's say, and in this culture, this is very common, where someone has mashallah, Allah blessed him with a big house, and he has a big ladies' party, or a mehndi. A mehndi before the wedding event. All the ladies, they come, they're wearing nice clothing, they're decked out, they're wearing makeup, they're wearing perfume. Because they're assuming that they're going to be around other women. And then you'll see the man of the household, he says, this is my house, why do I need permission? This is my house. They're in my house. Astaghfirullah. People's daughters are there, people's wives are there. You're shamelessly going to go out in the middle, just walk in? There's probably some sisters that wear niqab. Shame on you to be putting yourself in a situation where sisters are probably wearing niqab. And this is even in family house parties and dawats, that if you know that the sisters are sitting in a certain area, that you don't just walk in there. Because you don't know, maybe the sister is wearing niqab and she took it out to communicate with the sisters. Now you're putting her in an uncomfortable situation, that she has to constantly be worried. Is this man who doesn't have any adab and khuluq? And this is why I said Surah An-Nur is so important. He's just going to barge in at any moment. La. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, إِيَّاكُمْ وَالدُّخُولَ عَلَى النِّسَاءِ. Be careful when you enter upon women. إِيَّاكُمْ. Be careful as you enter upon women. إِيَّاكُمْ وَالدُّخُولَ عَلَى النِّسَاءِ. Now you just enter and you see a woman sitting, you just enter as you wish. You go to the lady side of the musalla, you just enter as you wish, just because it's open on the side. La, not like this. You have to have adab, you have to have khuluq. You don't know the situation of some sisters. She might be feeding a child. She might not have her hijab on completely. She might be a niqabi. So many things could be the case. So we need to be very, very careful. And then the Prophet ﷺ, one of the Ansar, he asked, Ya Rasulullah, have you seen the brother-in-law? Al-Hamu? The Prophet ﷺ, he said, Al-Hamu al-Maut. He said the brother-in-law and also the sister-in-law is death. What does this mean? You have to be very, very careful. Because usually when shaitan comes and whispers, okay, he's going to whisper when that person has the ability and access to the opposite gender. Okay? And usually the case when we have in our families sit with one another, brother-in-law is there, sister-in-law is there, that's fine. Families sit with one another and they have conversation, they talk, like as families usually sit. But then to have khalwa, to have privacy between the husband and the sister-in-law, for example, or the wife and the brother-in-law. La, astaghfirullah. Wallahi, my brothers, I have heard of a divorce case, and I have seen a divorce case where, a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem, a'azakumullah, where the woman had to divorce her husband because the brother of the husband tried to do something with her. Because al-hamu al-maut, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa he gave us the warning. He told us, be careful when you have these open interactions because you don't know what to expect. Again, إِيَّاكُمْ وَالدُّخُولَ عَلَى النِّسَاءِ. Be careful when you enter upon women. It's not just open like that. You have to have some adab, some khuluq. Let them know that you're there, not as you wish and as you will. So again, that's why you understand why this surah is so important, because it has direct implications on our family lives, on our home lives, and our lives with the community, and how we deal with one another. The next ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, فَإِن لَمْ تَجِدُوا فِيهَا أَحَدًا فَلَا تَدْخُلُوهَا حَتَّى يُؤْذَنَ لَكُمْ. If you find no one at home, do not enter the home that you're trying to go to. Let's say you're visiting your family. Let's say you're trying to visit someone, and you don't find anybody there. Do not enter it. فَلَا تَدْخُلُوهَا حَتَّى يُؤْذَنَ لَكُمْ. Until you have been given permission. Okay? وَإِن قِيلَ لَكُمْ ارْجِعُوا فَارْجِعُوا. And if you are asked to leave, then leave. Don't say, why are they making me leave? No, this is their home. This is their house. They have the ability to ask you to leave. This is their complete right. وَإِن قِيلَ لَكُمْ ارْجِعُوا فَارْجِعُوا. Leave. هُوَ أَزْكَى لَكُمْ. It is more pure for you. It is better for you. It is pure for you. وَاللَّهُ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ عَلِيمٌ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has perfect knowledge of what you do. Again, this is a warning that Allah knows. And why? This is very important. If there's nobody in the house, you have to seek permission before going in. And again, I'll mention the case where, let's say, the grandmother is staying at someone's house, at one of your brother's house, let's say. Your mom is staying at your brother's house. Don't just go there, expect that you could just walk in because your mother is there. This is also the house of your brother. This is also perhaps the house of your sister. This is perhaps the house of some family member. Don't just go in. You know the elderly person is there, or you're trying to go do something, you have something there for yourself. Seek permission before you go. Text, I'm going to visit right now. Is that okay? I'm going to visit right now. That's simple text message, simple phone call. See if they're okay with it. Because a lot of times, a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. You have to seek permission before you enter in. Again, why? Because this is not your property. This is the property of someone else. Can I just grab your hat and do whatever I want with it? You take your jacket and just play around with it, do whatever I want with it? Can I? Is it my property? Can I come and just go sit in your car without asking your permission? Just sit on the hood of your car. Can I do that? You're going to get upset. Like, what the heck is this guy doing? This is my property. Why is he messing around with this? Similarly, you don't just barge into people's homes without asking for permission. This is not your property. This is not your ownership. So you have to seek permission. And beyond that, and why I say that, because I have seen and I've heard cases where people will go and visit someone else's home. They're not there. They have the keys because the family trusts them. And then they're like, ooh, this is the perfect time to snoop around. Let's see what they have. Let's go open their doors. Wallahi, a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir. Some people, shayateen are always, they say shayateen from jinn. There's also shayateen from humans as well. They'll see this as an open opportunity. MashaAllah, let's see what they have. Let's see if there's any cash, this, that. And MashaAllah, they'll know to put, a'udhu billah, I'm giving ideas to people, please. This is how people think. Shayateen come and shayateen whisper to them and they think, MashaAllah, this is opportunity to snoop. A'udhu billah. Wallahu bima ta'maluna alim. They might not have a camera system. Maybe they might, Allahu a'lam. Some houses have camera systems. They might not have a camera system, but Allah is always watching. And the angels are always recording. Wallahu bima ta'maluna alim. That is why Allah, the characteristic He reminds us of here, Allah is all aware. Allah knows what we're doing. Allah knows. The ayah after. ليس عليكم جناح أن تدخلوا بيوتا غير مسكونة فيها متاع لكم والله يعلم ما تبدون وما تكتمون. But before I go there, it is narrated that one of the scholars, he says, ما قرعت بابا على عالم قط. Out of so much etiquette and honor that he had for scholars, that he never knocked the door on a scholar before. That he would not. But out of so much adab that he wouldn't even knock on the door. So not to put him in an inconvenience, subhanAllah. And there's one incident, I've mentioned it before, of Imam Maydani and his teacher Ibn Abidin. Ibn Abidin, one of the most well-known scholars of the Hanafi madhab. Imam Maydani was his student and also has a very famous commentary on Mukhtasar al-Quduri. For those that are listening online to also benefit from. Imam Maydani, every single morning before Fajr, he would have a special class with his teacher Ibn Abidin. Every day before Fajr. And he would come no matter the circumstance. These scholars, they were not playing games. They were serious about their studies. Every day before Fajr. So they were talking about tahajjud time. So he would not knock on the door of his teacher. He would just wait outside of the door. As his teacher would finish tahajjud and prepare himself, he would open the door for his student, and his student would come, they would study and go for Fajr together. One day it was so freezing cold, and I think it was in Turkey. I believe it was in Turkey, and you know how cold it gets there. Snowstorm, Allahu A'lam. And he's like, there's no way my student is coming today. There's no way Imam Maydani is coming today. It's freezing cold. If he goes outside, he's going to get frostbite or Allahu A'lam what's going to happen. Imam Maydani, he stood outside of the door waiting. And his shaykh did not come before Fajr. He came out at Fajr time to go for Salah. He opened the door, he's like, what? You're here? I thought of all... with this weather condition, and he sees, his like beard and his eyebrows are all frozen and whatnot. He says, how are you just standing here? I thought in this weather condition that you would definitely not come. And subhanAllah, out of manners with his teacher, he did not knock on the door. This is again the etiquettes of our pious predecessors and the etiquettes of our scholars that we need to also emulate. The next ayah, there is no blame on you if you enter public spaces. Can you enter into public spaces without seeking permission? Yes. Can you enter into Walmart? Of course. You're not going to be like, can I come inside? Can you come inside the masjid without seeking permission? This is Baytullah Azza wa Jal. This is a public place. Can you go into a hotel lobby? Of course you can. Can you go into an apartment complex, the leasing area? Of course you can. These are public areas, public spaces. A restaurant, a classroom. Public spaces, you don't need to seek permission because the Sahaba, they took these rulings so seriously that they started applying it to everything. So Allah made it easy. لَيْسَ عَلَيْكُمْ جُنَاحٌ. There's no problem. أَن تَدْخُلُوا بُيُوتًا, that you enter into homes and spaces غَيْرَ مَسْكُونَةٍ, where people don't reside and live in. Because then there's no fear of you seeing something that you should not. فِيهَا مَتَاعٌ لَكُمْ, there is some benefit for you there. وَاللَّهُ يَعْلَمُ مَا تُبْدُونَ وَمَا تَكْتُمُونَ. جزاكم الله خيرا. And Allah knows what you reveal and what you conceal. Again, as a warning, that perhaps someone, again, shayateen are there, he might see, you could, because there's gray areas sometimes as well. So again, don't abuse those gray areas because Allah knows all and He sees all. يَعْلَمُ خَائِنَةَ الْأَعْيُنِ وَمَا تُخْفِي الصُّدُورِ. Allah knows what you're hiding inside. So you can't play games with Allah. You can play games with people that, my intention was not that. Habibi, Allah is watching you. Allah is watching me. So there's no escaping Allah Azza wa Jal. There's a few things that I want to mention and I'll go over them quickly, just as lessons for us to remember when it comes to these adab. How to enter your home, what foot should you enter with? The right foot. When you enter the home or you leave the house, do not push the door violently or slam it shut. Some, especially young people, young children, they'll just slam the door, slam their bedroom door, or slam the house. La. Do it politely, do it nicely. Don't shut the door violently. The Prophet ﷺ, he says, إِنَّ الرِّفْقَ لَا يَكُونُ فِي شَيْءٍ إِلَّا زَانَهُ وَلَا يُنْزَعُ مِنْ شَيْءٍ إِلَّا شَانَهُ. Gentleness adorns every act. Its absence will tarnish it. Gentleness is always beautiful. Being easygoing, being gentle is always a beautiful thing. How to enter when people are sleeping. Be quiet and gentle if you enter a place where people are sleeping, whether during the day or night. Be considerate. I'm sure your wives would be very grateful. If they're sleeping, don't come inside the bedroom. Doom. Open the bathroom door, turn on the light. Shh, mashallah, doing wudu before salat, tahajjud, and your wife is bichari, she's trying to sleep, and you're causing all of this chaos. And then when you go to the mattress, you don't go quietly. Make sure you make the mattress move. Go quietly, go considerately. And the opposite too, for the wife to do that as well. There's one princess by the name of Qatr al-Nada. There's also an Arabic grammar book named Qatr al-Nada. She was very famous for her intelligence. There's a lot of history behind it, and her mannerisms and her beauty. And she was the daughter of the king of Egypt, and she married the Abbasid Khalifa. Okay, so imagine this is a princess. Imagine the mannerisms and the intelligence that she had, all of the special training. And she said this. She said, my father taught me an important adab. My father, the king of Egypt, he taught me an important manner. Do not sleep among sitting people. Let's say we're having a dars here. Don't fall asleep then, because then you're going to be disturbed by them. And then they're going to feel a sense of a reason to stay more quiet. Don't sleep among sitting people, and do not sit among sleeping people. If people are sleeping, like in Jamaat for example, don't be that one guy who's on his phone talking to his wife at nighttime. Habibi, people are sleeping. People do that, don't they do that? Don't sit among sleeping people, and do not sleep among sitting people. Greetings. What's the greeting of a Muslim? Good morning, how are you? La. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. That's the greeting of a Muslim. There's a hadith, I'm skipping that, just going over the things. You should say Assalamu alaikum as you enter a gathering and as you leave. The second is no less than the first. Okay, Assalamu alaikum as you enter and you leave. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, sallu alayhi, he said that when you enter into vacant or uninhabited places, you should say Assalamu alaikum. You enter into your house, nobody's there, what do you say? Assalamu alaikum. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Don't just think that you're saying Assalamu alaikum to the people there. Maybe there's angels there, maybe there's pious. Allahu a'lam what's there. Assalamu alaikum when you enter into your house, and Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, and even A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Make sure you enter in the home and the shayateen do not come in. Announcing your presence, like I said, announcing your presence, avoid startling or frightening people. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu, he used to announce himself by calling his family in a cordial tone. And there are other narrations where scholars would tap their shoes or clear their throat before they walk into their homes, so that the people know. Now we have the knock, we have the different ways. Seeking permission before you enter, especially when you go into other people's rooms, siblings to one another, especially brother to sister. Don't just open your sister's room. La, astaghfirullah. Have some shyness. Or even your mother, or even your father. Allahu a'lam, a person might be changing. They're in the peace of their home. They're not going to always remember to lock the door. So knock, seek permission before you enter into people's rooms. And there's one hadith, the Prophet ﷺ, one Sahabi, he said, Ya Rasulullah, should I seek permission before entering my mother's room? The Prophet ﷺ, he said, yes. He said, we live together in the same house. The Prophet ﷺ said, seek permission before you enter. Ask permission to join her. He said, Ya Rasulullah, but she's my mother, I serve her, she's old age. Rasulullah ﷺ, he kept telling him, until he had to be straightforward. Would you like to see her when she's unclothed? He said, astaghfirullah, no way, Ya Rasulullah. Then knock on the door. Simple as that. Knock on the door and seek permission. So seek permission when we enter into the rooms of even our own family members, because they might be doing something that they don't want you to see. So knock on the door. One companion, Musa, the son of the companion Talha radiallahu anh, he said, my father went to my mother's room. I followed him into my mother's bedroom, the parents' bedroom, as he entered. My father turned towards me and pushed me down. And then he reprimanded me. He said, how dare you to enter without permission? I can enter, this is my wife. I can enter into my bedroom. How dare you enter with me without permission? Adab. Our people are people of adab, people of manners. People who know how to seek permission before entering. Knocking and ringing, of course, do not knock loudly and violently. You're not a thug or an oppressor. You're not the cops. Boom, boom, boom. Be soft, be nice. There's also a narration where Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, someone wanted a fatwa, so the person was knocking on the door very loudly. And he got upset and he said, this is the banging of the police. What is this? The last thing, and we'll end with this inshallah. If you knock on the door and they ask, who is it? Don't say, you know who it is. It's me. The Prophet ﷺ, when someone said that, he said, it's me, Ya Rasulullah, ana. the Prophet ﷺ was upset. He said, Ana. Who is me? Who is me? Say your name. Identify yourself when you do that. And also even when it comes to phone calls as well. This also applies. Message a person, especially if it's a foreign number. Message the guy first. Let him know who you are and what your purpose is, and then call. Don't just call people at random. وصل اللهم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Ya Allah, we ask you to make us people of Quran, to make us people of light, to make us people of adab. وصل اللهم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Barakallahu fikum. Any questions, comments? This is a very important dars. Very important.
So, just to add to what you mentioned about the Jamaat. So, if Jamaat goes to your house, remember they are your friends.
Yes.
And inshallah, they actually follow the rules that Sheikh mentioned.
Yes, they do.
Now, they will knock 3 times. If you don't have time, don't open the door. And they don't go to have tea with you, but if you invite, they'll be happy to do it. But if you see that you have only 5 minutes, tell them I have 5 minutes.
5 minutes, yes.
So, the good people, they will not take more than 5 minutes.
Yes.
Just give them some time.
Alhamdulillah, of course. Barakallahu fikum. My dad would always send me, go. Not always, of course, we would go to Jamaat too.
One more thing, please do remember that the masjid people, meaning the board, never share your address with them. If they find your address, they find from the website. So don't blame the masjid. So your address is everywhere.
Which website?
I can give you.
People will think the masjid website, they have the...
Not masjid website.
Yeah.
So publicly available, and you can buy even addresses.
You can buy the addresses.
So don't blame the masjid, and it also let other people know who complains that why people are coming. But they are your friends.
Yeah, a couple of weeks before, some people ask here, we give them addresses to people to come here because
let them know.
They said they are coming from Australia. How they know my address? You guys are giving.
Oh, subhanallah.
I said check with the Brother Khalid.
Address encyclopedia. I can show you how many places you can find your address, including your age and everything.
Subhanallah, it's true.
And the thing is, like I
I
said.
will let him explain to you, okay? Brother Khalid, after that,